All right. So let's get started. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for showing up tonight or watching after. Future viewers, current viewers. My name is Allison Cordner, and I'm a registered therapeutic counselor, a clinical counselor. But most of all, I'm most fascinated and passionate about human potential. And so I'm going to be talking tonight about human potential and limiting beliefs. So, you might actually want to bring a notepad or open up a notepad on your computer, because there might be some things that are really going to stand out to you tonight that I'm talking about. And there's going to be even a question part in my talk. So it would be great if you were able to grab something that you can write on, just to write some answers, or open up a notepad on your device if you have that after. Okay, so here we go. So the talk is going to be, I'm going to aim to talk as a little less than last week. Last week we went about an hour and 18 minutes. I was on a roll. And so I love talking, and so I'm going to try to pace myself. It's 8:04 right now, or 5:04 in the West Coast, and I'm going to try to talk and keep it to about 30 minutes so that there's time for questions. And I had a lot of positive feedback privately about my talk last week. And so it's really, really, really heartwarming to hear that, I believe at times that I'm here talking to myself. But there's actually a lot of people watching that I can't even necessarily see in the views. And so welcome everyone, and I love hearing your feedback. Oh, a few things before I start my talk tonight, which again is going to be hopefully about 30 minutes, and then I want you to feel very, very, very welcome to ask questions, whether you're a client, a non-client, a new person, it doesn't matter. This is a free community event. I am not pitching or selling anything. I am here for you. And there is no bad question. All questions are welcome. And if I can't answer it, I literally will just tell you, I'm not too sure. Can I get back to you? Okay. So everyone is welcome to write. And so I've put in the chat right below. Hopefully you can see it if you're on a computer. If not, you can also see it on TVs and stuff. But there is a link to my donation PayPal, and the donation tonight, it's not going to go to me. I'm not doing this, to monetize anything. I want to donate anyone who's willing to just even donate a few bucks, a few dollars, to this wonderful smaller cat rescue refuge called Shatopia, great name, who, oh my God, they have the most darling cats. And I can't believe that these cats have been abandoned and let go of. It's just like, they're so lovely and beautiful. And many of them have medical bills due to the abandonment. And in particular, I'm really in love with this little Valentino cat who looks like Levine's twin. Like literally, Valentino could be Levine's brother. He's a little Himalayan, I believe, or it might be a Persian, but they're quite similar. And he's really struggling through a lot of bills, and it just tears my heart apart. So I keep putting money into this. So if anyone is donating, wants to donate, there's a link below, and I will transfer. There's Levine behind me, very excited about this talk. I will donate it to Shatopia, even, whatever small amount. It's, every dollar makes a difference, and it goes really straight to the medical bills of the cats at that refuge. So going back, ADHD brain. So going to do a talk, 30 minutes, ask some questions, and then we're going to end with an uplifting visualization meditation that really is a perfect integration about what I'm talking about tonight, if you're willing to stay for that. And that's will only be about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or something like that. Not a great judge of time, but I'll try to keep it short. And so here we go. So hopefully you guys can all hear me. I'm not seeing activity in the chat, but I'm going to, just assume that you are shy. And so I'm just going to get started with my talk right now. Anyone who misses the replay or misses this live, I should say, can catch the replay. It'll always be under lives on my YouTube channel. And please, 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 sharing is caring. And if I can get to 1,000 likes and transfer over all of my followers from my other social media, then I can activate all kinds of nifty, cool things on this YouTube stream that I can't access until I have 1,000 followers or more. So sharing is caring. If you want to share this with somebody that you think would be really could use some positive information about mental health and life, and not things that will keep them down, please share this feed. Okay, so let me begin. So what you dream about, you bring about. So what I mean by this is my newest saying. I'm telling all my clients this, like a broken record. What you dream about, you bring about. What you dream about, you bring about. Remember that, because by controlling your mind, you can control your life. I personally believe that we're all born wired for greatness. But somewhere along the line, we lose that innocence and potential due to the things that we experience or that we don't experience. The things that we don't experience can look like neglect, like the moments that we're not, cared for or paid attention to in the way that we needed. And so learning how to recognize and step away from the things that are not good for us and stop letting them get in our way is also a big key to stepping into our best life. We get so caught up in the blockers and the limitations, the I can'ts, the yeah buts, when there's solutions and or a different way of being. And it's all easier said than done, right? It's like change all of that. There's solutions. Easier said than done. Yes, I get it. I'm a trauma counselor, and I have overcome my own complex trauma. And so I get it. It's not that easy, but it is and it isn't. Okay, so I'm going to get into that tonight. And so what you dream about, you bring about. So important, and I'm going to explain. So how many of you in the audience or future viewers resonate with what I'm about to say? How many of you feel like your mind gets in your way more than any other obstacle in your life? The monkey mind, the blah, 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 yada, 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 yada. We set ourselves up. We create lives that lock us into destinies and environments that are intolerable. And then we wonder why we feel so depressed, so anxious, and in some cases, some really, really terrible, unfortunate cases, so traumatized. I know my mind can really, 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 really set me back if I listen to it. Oh boy. Yeah, my chatter mind is a lot better now, but it goes through phases. We get triggered and then boom, we get pulled right into our monkey mind that starts becoming super negative. And I have spent over a decade working on overcoming that internal dialogue. It dictated so much of my life, guys. I'm serious. The only reason I do what I do today is because of what I suffered through. And I still have moments of suffering. It's the human experience. There is no magic pill. There is no magic therapist. You're not going to come to therapy and in 5 sessions be a whole new person. You can start the beginning of becoming a whole new person. And I'm going to get into that in the talk today. But there's no magic fix. The magic fix is you. Okay? So I turned each experience, negative experiences, into a learning and a motivation to prove naysayers wrong. Oh my God, guys. Like, I love to have people tell me I can't do something, or that, who are bullying me in some way, or at least I perceive that they're bullying me and they're saying kind of like a no, or you're not good enough. When I get that vibe, in a way now I love it, because I'm like, let me show you. So to become a better person, I started to become a better person because of, the things that happened to me. I turned it around at a certain point. And I turned it into a way of tapping into my infinite potential, something that every one of us has. Every one of you has infinite potential, but you have forgotten that. You have forgotten that, or nobody ever told you that. That sounds really crazy. For some of you, you're like, whatever, Ali. But I am telling you, you have infinite potential. Do you have limitations and things going on that are keeping you stuck? Absolutely. Do you have trauma that needs to be cleared? 100% probably. Yeah. But beyond those things, there is infinite potential in you. I remember waking up every day fearing having to step into the world and facing what I had to do. Even simple things, simple things were really, really, really hard for me for a really, really long time, years. I was really stuck. So looking in the mirror, I remember, was devastating. In my in my teens to my early 20s, I work with a lot of young people in high school and in their 20s and university and stuff. So I really want to let you know that you are not alone in looking in the mirror and hating yourself. Okay? Whether you're a man, you're a woman, you're trans, everyone struggles with this to a certain degree, unless you're really, 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 really lucky and you had super, 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 super supportive parents who got everything right. Okay, so walking through a crowd of people even felt crippling. My ego, which is the monkey mind, is that chattering voice, la, 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 blah, 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 you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, don't do it, the fear voice is the ego, told me that everyone would be looking at me and would see how ugly I was, or was watching for me to make a mistake and trip, or worse yet, I would be harmed or attacked in some way. So there's the fear-based thinking that I was talking about last week. It's like I was really stuck in this loop, this deep fear-based loop of feeling like the world was not a friendly place. I'd gone through so many terrible and scary situations in a period of my late teens to early 20s that I had wired in neurologically a mess. So I was so self-loathing, guys, that I began to believe that the entire universe revolved around me. And that universe was not a friendly place. It felt crippling, and it stemmed from a lot of complex trauma and negative, difficult situations that I'd gone through. And we all have gone through. Some people have big T traumas, like catastrophic, bad, abusive situations. The majority of us have little T traumas. So a lot of different experiences of neglect or, painful experiences and losses and stuff like that, all layered up. And so that's more of the complex trauma. And so I was experiencing all of the above. And I was stuck, big STUCK, stuck in the past without even knowing it due to all of that. I had wired in all of these beliefs and behaviors and got myself into a very set series of unfortunate events. I created my own misery at a certain point. So bad things just kept happening to me. I felt like a magnet for bullies and assaults. And this is really, when we're coming from a trauma perspective, so for those of you listening who have gone through some really big T traumas, unfortunately, that stays wired in the nervous system. And we start attracting perpetrators or dangerous people, dangerous situations over and over and over and over again. That's part of the trauma and the impacts of trauma that needs professional support to work through, okay? So once you have that stabilization, you can start really integrating a lot of these pieces that I'm talking about tonight. You can actually start now, but you really need that proper support. So I'm just saying that as an aside because I don't want there to be any minimization of how difficult it is to live with the impacts of trauma. Okay, so what I wish I had known back then, little Allie, was that I needed help. Help to rewire who I was, who I'd become, to return to an even better version of the innocent little Allie who existed under all of the pain. I needed a forced reset. Force, hold down, reset, like an iPhone, literally, okay? The nerve cells that fire together, wire together. Lots of rhyming tonight. I love rhymes. I'm like a child that never grew up. Nerve cells that fire together, wire together. So I needed to understand that to change automatic beliefs and behaviors and responses, I needed a new set of behaviors, beliefs, and responses. Okay, let me say that again. I needed to understand that to change automatic beliefs and behaviors and responses, I needed a new set of behaviors, beliefs, and responses. So what we become is conditioning. We are like a computer program. Literally, we are like a computer program. The brain is computing and conditioning and programming. And the good news about that is that you can reset a computer and rewire it, just like you can a brain. So there is a happy ending to this talk. Okay, so habit is when the body knows how to do it better than our brain. You know you have conditioning. Habit is when the body knows how to do it better than the brain. So let me repeat this for you. Habits are when our bodies know how to do it better than our brains. Broken record, Allie. Is this ringing any bells for any of you folks watching? And I'm going to look at the chat, even though I shouldn't move things around too much because I'm going to get confused. And no one is chatting. So I'm going to assume, though, that some of this is resonating with people. Okay? So anytime you learn something new, you create new circuits. That is part of the good news tonight. So, I learned through my self-study this week, listening to inspiring leaders on human potential, that the Scientific American magazine did a study, or reported on a study, where they found the outcome of that 50% of what we talk about regarding our past is not even true. 50% of what we talk about, you, me, everybody else, in regards to our past, is not even true. Holy smokes. Drat. Okay, so let me explain how I interpret this to be accurate and to be true from what I have seen and witnessed in my life as well as in therapy with clients. So when we are born, okay, we are wired for connection. We need it to survive. We need connection. We're born into families or situations that start impacting our personalities and our perceptions and forming them and wiring in all of the following stuff. The stuff I talked before and what is coming. So some of us come from rather stable homes. So that wasn't me. Sorry, Dad. So some of us come from rather stable homes, yet somehow we still struggle with self-worth and other issues that are part of the human condition. Others of us are abandoned, hands up, or abused, hands up, or neglected, hands up. Most are given something in between. So moments of love and connection and lapses in this. Yeah, I got lots of love too. I had a good mom and dad. They're very, very human. But there was lapses. There were some glaring lapses in moments which both would attest to. Mom above, who has passed on, and dad, who may or may not be watching. If so, hi, Dad. Would totally attest to this because I'm open and I've talked about these things with both of them. So most people are actually born into something in the middle where there are moments of love and connection and then lapses in it. because of what the caregivers, so whoever was taking care of you, whether it was parents or grandparents or a foster home, are experiencing in their lives. And that pulls them away from tune to your needs consistently. Okay, so how we perceive our reality at the time, right now, after this call, before this call, forms our belief systems. So if we perceive that we are not likable or accepted, for example, because of being bullied in your youth, like what I talked about last week, and if you didn't watch it, go watch it. It's really impactful. But what I shared about last week, my hard childhood growing up with the belief that I was unwelcome. So this feeling like, oof, this is not a big welcoming team here as I'm popping into this, cold medical room, into this province that's so full of conflict and division. So we inadvertently, me included, unconsciously start taking that on as part of our identity. So what we perceive, we take on as our identity. And by doing everything in our power to not feel that thing, for example, that we are unwelcome or not good enough, we actually act in ways that keeps us feeling rejected and disliked. We're trying to do all these strategies to keep us away from that unconscious belief system that's been wired in due to our perceptions of our experiences. And no, I'm not trying to say that like what happened to you didn't happen. Your perception is your reality. Oh my God, it's getting so complicated, right? But okay, so we have conditioned ourselves to not only believe that we are not perfectly perfect beyond belief at our core, which I know you are, but you're not believing me right in this moment. I can see it. No, I just know that most of us don't, at our core, believe it. But also, we are actually reinforcing these beliefs through unconsciously sabotaging ourselves. Yeah, yes, we do that. I do that. We all do that. It's part of our journey on this life. Okay, so we call this behavior the strategic self strategy, unconscious strategy. So the strategic self, when we adopt deeply wired in negative beliefs based on our experiences, we call this the ego, or shadow parts, or negative core beliefs, or limiting beliefs. And there's probably a whole bunch of other words for it as well. But some of these hopefully are ringing a bell for you, or you will resonate with them next time you hear the word. Okay, so ego, shadow parts, negative core beliefs, or limiting beliefs. Excuse me, a little tissue. So not only do we have these limiting beliefs, we actually take them on as our identity, and it impacts our health, how we walk through the world physically. I'm not important, I'm not welcome. And how we cope with stressors, how we manage relationships, conflicts, what we choose to do for work even, or what we choose not to do with our lives. Choices we don't make, the dreams we give up, the dreams that we are not able to actually even create because maybe our family system didn't allow for dreams. Born into a family where dreams were squashed. Not allowed to have dreams. Okay. So the list goes on and on and on, like one of those TV infomercials with the silly fast voice explaining everything in the limits of it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. Okay. So thoughts are the language of the brain. Feelings are the language of the body. I'm going to let you guys write that down. I really like that one. Thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. Okay? When we are believing in our limiting beliefs, our shadow parts, our ego, our monkey mind, the blah, 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 we are in effect, we are unconscious. We're not even awake. We're not awake. We are no longer present in the moment. And we call this separation. Okay, remember at the beginning, it's like we're wired for connection, no separation, and then boom, somehow we ended here in this separation. So I want you to really grab a pen and a paper because I have a question, or open up your notepad right now. So go grab a pen or paper or type into your device. Giving you a minute to do that. And if not, you can always come back to this and replay this part. Okay, so I am is the single most powerful or destructive phrase in existence, in my opinion, at least. Okay. I am is the single most powerful or destructive phrase in existence. Your thoughts create your reality. So pause for a moment and think about your answer to the following question. Using 3 words that come up to the surface right away. Don't think about this, you thinkers. I know you're there. Thinker, stop it. Stop. You're going to use your intuition. Write down the first 3 words that come to your conscious mind. I am blank, blank, blank. How would you? I am. So who am I? And I'm going to keep talking because I don't want you to overthink it. You got to keep what you wrote down. So your genetics, biology, neurohormones, and more are all linked to how you think, act, and how you feel, which is your personality. It makes up your personality. So therefore, creating a new personality in life where you're not feeling so depressed and anxious and traumatized and stuck and out of balance, my professional word, yeah. You need to change your thoughts and your habits. So becoming aware of your limiting beliefs and changing them. So looking at every single emotion and behavior linked to more of your past than in the present is key to the change. Creating something new and becoming someone else is entirely possible through reprogramming. Okay? So your brain is an archive of all of your past experiences. It's a giant library. It's a giant Dropbox folder. So if you continue all of the habits, the thoughts, the behaviors, and the responses, the reactions of your past, you'll experience no change. That's the hard truth. And that's why I often have people come to counseling who will say, I saw a therapist and nothing happened. I'm still the same. Probably there wasn't a lot of challenge in that therapy where you were facilitated to create new neural pathways and experiences through being pushed towards fear. So if there is no pausing, slowing down, there is no brain change. So if you're not slowing down and pausing, which might be a very, very, very new and challenging behavior, but if there is no pausing, there's no slowing down, there is no brain change. So you are unconscious. You're not actually present in the moment. You're in monkey mind, ego, shadow self, whatever you want to call it. So expecting your life to change without changing all of these factors is not realistic. There will be no shift. Drat. So you can change the hardwiring and fire new circuits. So by age 35, we are a set of memorized behaviors, beliefs, and reaction defenses, okay, that are conditioned into the body. And 95% of people's entire lives are subconscious programming, wired in beliefs, perceptions, behaviors, reactions. It's like, why do I act this way? I don't know why. I just have this response to this person all the time. programming. Yeah, it's hard to not have these automatic responses. And so we need to create change by noticing them first and then start having a plan of action. Okay, so we need to fire new connections in the brain. Learning, by the way, creates new synapses. So even learning one piece of information and 1 minute of new information, like today, and reviewing it, people in studies showed that they, not watching this, but in a study, they showed that learning new information and reviewing it increased the participants' neural circuits from 1300 to 2600. But if they didn't review 2600 new synapses, I should say, okay? But if they didn't review the information, so if you don't review this information that I'm talking about tonight, it literally, they showed in the study that it fizzled and withered, disappeared, poof, out within a few hours or days, gone. That's the important part of reviewing and revisiting and making a practice of revisiting the tools and the things that you need to do. And what I'm going to talk about next is even more important. It's like what to do instead of concentrating on the old behaviors, belief systems, which only reinforces those synapses and makes them stronger. Not good. Not good. Reinforcing. So reviewing the information and changes requires creating repeated new habits and observing of yourself to integrate. So your evolution will actually come from this. Reviewing, the pausing, the reviewing, the thinking, the learning about happiness and hopefully not reading about all the things that are wrong with you. Please don't do that. Stop following those people on TikTok. I know who you are. So we need to awaken to the present moment and to stop living in the past, essentially, is what is needing to happen in a nutshell. So what I challenge you all to is, here's some homework, you can write it down, but I'm a really nice teacher, and if you don't do it, you still get an apple, or what is it, a star? No, the teacher gets the apple, so I'm going to get a lot of apples, I hope. But you get a star, even if you don't do it, because even if you just think about doing it, you get a star, because that is creating a new synapse, okay? So 30 days, I'm challenging you to the following homework, 30 days of interrupting these patterns. So to the best of your abilities, you're going to pause before you go into automatic pilot. So when you're noticing yourself going into some automatic pilot, how you know is like you're not really present in the moment. You're maybe reacting, or you're road raging, or you're literally like brushing your teeth and then putting a toothbrush into the fridge, that kind of stuff too. We've all done that, right? It's like you take your telephone or something, you put it in the fridge. That's automatic pilot. Okay, so pausing, so that's not happening. Pausing when you notice yourself going into that. So notice when you are in automatic pilot and start each day, the most important part, start each day with 10 minutes of you sitting or lying in bed in silence, not on TikTok, watching all those really bad. No, they're nice, they're good, they're well thought out. I don't like to use the word bad. Videos telling you how ill you are or broken. We don't want those synapses. Bad synapse. No. What you're going to do is going to be sitting or lying down in silence, and you're going to see and start envisioning your future self, your ideal self. So what that's going to look like is you really starting to allow yourself to dream. No dream is too big. You're going to start visualizing your future self. Okay? And maybe actually, you know what? I'm going to reverse the thing. So, oh, look at that. I'm 37 minutes. I'm pretty darn on time today. What I was going to do is take some questions. But what I'm going to do is flip it. I'm going to do this this exercise with you guys, And then I'm going to open up everything for questions. So when things come up, you can ask in the chat and I'll answer it after. Okay. So I want to welcome you in this moment to just sit where you are, and you can recline if you want. And if you're okay with it, close your eyes, because something really, 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 really important to know is when you close your eyes, whatever you imagine becomes your reality. So remember what I said in the beginning. What you dream about, you bring about. That's actually neurologically correct. That's kind of the point to my whole talk tonight. And so closing your eyes actually fools the brain into believing that you are in reality. And so you are creating something new and special. So close your eyes. And you can open them at any time if you feel spooked or unsettled, but there's nothing bad that's going to happen here. This is all positive, loving energy. You're going to first just start by feeling the seat underneath you, the support, the beautiful support underneath you. And we're going to take in 2 deep breaths in and out. In and out. And in and gently out. And now you're just going to let your breath do its thing. Just noticing all the little sounds around you. I can hear my little cat water bowl trickling in the background. Just hearing my voice, giving yourself a moment of pause, of silence. And I want you to just imagine that you have some wonderful, beautiful, sparkly, golden light that's starting to come up through your feet as you breathe in, all the way up to the top of your head. And on the exhale, you have green stardust, sparkly stardust exploding out into the universe. And those are all of your limiting beliefs. Those are all of your ego thoughts, that monkey chatter, the blah, blah, blah that goes on in the head over and over again. And you're breathing in new, golden, positive light and energy through your feet, moving all the way up your knees and your belly, your heart and your limbs, your fingers and your arms, your throat, your jaw and your third eye right here in the middle and the top of your head. And you're breathing out green stardust. All of the stuff you do not need in this moment anymore. All the connections you've had today that are over. Just allowing that replenishing golden light to come in and out. Making space. And now I'm going to invite you to imagine your future self. I want you to imagine what you would like to experience instead. So instead of those 3 words that you may have written down, unless they were positive, what would you like to experience instead in your life? Where do you see yourself? What would you do? Who would you be with? Where would you be? How would you be dressed? If you knew you couldn't fail, where do you see yourself? Who am I? What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Would you be in the same job? Would you be in the same partnership? Would you be in the same location? Or is there something else? If you knew to your core that you could never fail, what would you remember about yourself that you've forgotten? What would you remember? What would you learn or know is really true about you? That the monkey mind prevents you from experiencing. Maybe it's that you are good enough. And if that's what you're remembering, what would you start doing? How would you start acting, knowing that you are now good enough no matter what? And you knew you could not fail. Who would you be with? How would you physically walk through the world if you knew you couldn't fail? And just notice how you feel in your body right now. Just notice what it feels like to connect to your future self. Notice what it's like to reconnect to who you forgot you actually already are. There's some tears in the room tonight. I can feel it because you're remembering your full potential. What you dream about, you bring about. Thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. And nerve cells that fire together, wire together. And the good news about that is that you have just created new synapses. You've wired something new, a new experience into your brain. I want you to take a moment to feel that and notice how that feels. Maybe you feel your heart open. Maybe you feel a tingling. Maybe you feel tears of joy. Whatever it is, I want you to just give yourself a moment to notice that. And continue to breathe in that golden light all the way up from the feet to the top of the head. And with each exhale, you now have golden light, this new awakened golden light spreading out through your family, to your loved ones and friends. Sharing is caring. So we're sending that good vibes out to the rest of the family system or to the friends. And then you're just going to watch the golden light spread also to the communities around us. In through the feet, rising up to the crown, the golden elixir of light. And with each exhale, it's spreading out to the communities all around us and to the world at large. We're spreading the wisdom that we are all perfect as we are, underneath all of the attack and the blame and the strategies. And if we could all just remember who we truly are, we would be at peace. So on that note, I welcome you back. And you want to maybe wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, allow yourself to look around the room a little bit, and just come back to the here and the now and the present. Very nice. So what was that like for everybody? So you can start coming up with some questions if you're wanting to. It's 50 past the hour and I'm incredibly on time. So we have 10 minutes for any question that comes up around anything that we talked about tonight, or that you experienced, or something, maybe a question triggered up around something else, and I can do my best to answer that. If you're willing, you can take your time. And I really, really encourage all of you to take the next 30 days. So I'm just reminding you of the homework. Take the next 30 days to start every morning, 10 minutes, where you visualize your future self. So seeing is believing, closing your eyes, seeing it, and allowing that to just get better and better and better and better with practice. And the repetition is really, really important. So like I said earlier, it was something like, I have to pull up my synapses. Yes, I need to pull up my synapses. What was the percent of people that, like, it was like 95%, I think. Yeah, so I don't even know what the percent, it doesn't matter. I'm not a math person, guys. So if you don't repeat the information and review it, so if you don't review and repeat the new behaviors, for example, you will not change. But if you create habits, like we talked about earlier, habits, you're wiring in a new reality for yourself. And so I really want you to practice imagining what you want to experience instead. Start there. And then from there, hopefully it starts to expand and become bigger and bigger, bigger. The dream starts really, really, really expanding. And you can see where you're living, what you're doing, what you want, how much money you have. And it can just keep going and going and going. And you start really setting into motion something really, really amazing and different and new. All right. So, I don't know if you guys have any questions for me, because if you don't, well then I'm just going to let you guys get on with your evening and your sleep, for those of you in areas of the world that it's the middle of the night. But I would love to answer a question if any of you have a question about something. Unless, of course, I am not seeing the chat for some reason. Sorry if you heard some feedback. I was just making sure that I was still live on YouTube. And I do not see any questions in the chat. So what I will do instead is, so for all you future viewers who end up logging in and having questions, please feel free, and I will monitor the chat and I will respond as quickly as I can. I'll try to respond to any questions that come up about the talk or something else, hopefully relevant to the talk. And, you know, for all of you watching, oh, someone wrote, hi. I will say sometimes it's easier to ignore the situation and live in the autopilot. Is that just a matter of ensuring I do the habit? Okay, yeah. Sometimes it's easier to ignore the situation and live in autopilot. Yes, it's super easy to do that. Is that just a matter of ensuring I do the habit? So what I think Lauren's saying, and you can tell me yes or no in the chat, Lauren, is I think you're asking me if staying in this, living in the autopilot or staying in a situation is just part of the strategic self, which is really ingraining the habit, or like it's you being kind of stuck in that. Can you clarify that, Lauren? I don't know if I'm on the right stream, because if that is the question, yes, it's the strategic self. What's happening when you are in autopilot is that you are living from your past self. So you're living in the past rather than in the present. And well, sometimes you can even be like somewhere in the future, or trying to be in the future, even though that's not even a thing when you're in autopilot. But yes, so I don't know, Lauren, if that is totally not what you're asking me. And if you have an add-on question or a correction, you can type that in the chat too. All right. So I'm going to guess that I might have answered your question, hopefully, because I'm not seeing, oh, there we go. Yeah, okay, so Lauren says, yeah, I find it's comfortable to stay where I am and to avoid doing the difficult job of rewiring and being better and changing habits. Yeah, super easy to stay in the autopilot. And it's also easy for just the fact, Lauren, that you're noticing that you're doing that is amazing. So for all of you who are actually noticing that you're doing the autopilot thing, that's an amazing thing, because you are actually already rewiring your brain in noticing that you're doing the thing and avoiding. And at a certain point, what's going to happen is you're going to have the ability to, or the support to push past the edge of the thing, the fear that is coming up that's preventing you from doing the difficult thing that could give you access to such an incredible, better life and a better existence. So we all struggle with this fear that shows up that keeps us in the automatic pilot. And because at the other end of that is the past again. Oh, so it's like the wall is the past. It's the fear of feeling the unconscious belief stuff. So the limiting belief of, say, I'm not good enough. So it's like, if I do this thing, if I just keep avoiding it, then I'm not going to experience the thing of not being good enough, or being told that I'm not good enough, or I'm not valuable or worthy. When in fact, it actually just reinforces it. It deepens the synapse. So once we kind of figure that out, and that fully integrates, and it takes repetition and hearing it over and over in time, we start realizing that, oh my God, fear is actually SEXY. Yeah. Fear becomes almost exciting because you start realizing that a wall is different than a door. A door closing is a redirection. It's like, whoop, universe is wanting us to learn something and redirect. But a wall to me is more like an edge. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff. Oh my God, looking down. Oh my God, I'm on the end of the. But we forgot that we are able to fly. This is just an analogy. Please don't go jumping off cliffs or any of that stuff. Okay. But like the analogy of like being on the edge and forgetting that we can fly. If we can remember that we can fly, then when we face our fear, we grow and we've created new synapses, and we keep doing that. We keep doing that. We keep doing that. We keep doing that. And we have literally restructured the brain, and we've created new habit. And that no longer is a fear anymore. You've exposed yourself, essentially exposure therapy. You've exposed yourself to a new thing, and you've pushed past your edge. And if you can keep seeing fear and edges as an amazing thing, then it might start kind of changing the resistance to do the thing that needs to happen. You also start accumulating new positive experiences of pushing past the fear, which makes you more comfortable facing your fears. Crazy cool thing. I don't know if any of that makes sense for folks. But yeah, it ties a lot into what I was talking about last week about using fear as a tool and pushing past fear to experience something else on the other side. I'm so passionate about this stuff. So I think that if there's no other questions, I've filled your head with more information than you could possibly hold on to. So please be kind to yourselves. If this kind of stuff is new to you, it's going to take time and repetition for it to integrate. And what is meant to integrate will. And so just revisit this or other things that, or other speakers or motivational speakers who talk about human potential. Joe Dispenza, I used a bit of his statistics and stuff and information in this talk. I really love him. Another person I love to follow who is very, very, very positive is Michael Sandler. He has a live YouTube on Mondays and sometimes on Thursdays with an interview, live interview, but Monday nights, and it's all inspirational. He's a big reason for why I started to do what I'm doing tonight, because listening to him made me feel so much better and so much more connected. And you know, his chats are on fire because people have learned he's been doing it for so long that, you know, everyone becomes friends in the chat and they're talking, and it just becomes this exciting thing. And human potential and mental health shouldn't be a threatening thing. It should be super uplifting. And so just remember, you know, like, you know, what you dream about, you bring about, but also what you expose yourself to, you become. And, you know, it kind of goes around and around. So expose yourself to only inspiring and positive, uplifting things to create those new experiences. Oh, I think I have a little guest before I end who's going to come by and say hello. Oh, are you coming to say hello to all my YouTube viewers? Oh, no, he says, no, I'm not doing it. I thought it was my little Ginny monkey meat coming to say hello in her fancy outfit for tonight. But nope, it's my son. And he's like, no, not coming, not doing it. So, yeah, be kind to yourselves. It's a lot of information. Expose yourself to good things. Only positive. Remove all the negative trigger stuff from your life. Clean up your feeds online. There we go. A little quick view of my monster going up there. And yeah, you're going to create change through those new habits. And so next week, I'm going to do another talk, but this one will be about probably giving you some specific tips on how to integrate new habits, talking about maybe even examples of my routine that I have in my life that's really, 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 really helped me a lot. And when I fall off of it, I really struggle. And so some of that plus maybe some writing work on how to create abundance in your life. And abundance, again, is not focused on money necessarily. It's really about everything I'm talking about. It's like happiness, joy, balance, and all that kind of stuff. And the money comes along with it. When you're in perfect alignment and you take the time to change your habits, change your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors, that will create a whole new life and world for you. Any questions, please put it in the chat and I'll get back to it. And thank you for showing up here tonight or even after the talk as you rewatch this. And I just want to tell you all and remind you all, you are perfect the way you are. You may have just forgotten. And I am here to help you to remember the truth of who you are, or to at least inspire you to start making small changes to really start rebuilding who you are. You can create a new you. Okay. I want to wish you a very beautiful evening, everyone. And I'm going to end this with my little happy song, if I can get it to work. Here, let's see. I licensed a song that I thought was just so wonderful and lively. And sorry you heard it playing over and over again. Okay. Sorry, I'm doing something fancy here. I'm doing something fancy. It's going to happen in a second. One day I'm going to have a team who can do this for me.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers, don't care what other people say. We're living like this could be our final day. We're dreamers, don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive in the nighttime. It's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. We come alive. We come alive. What's your weakness? What's your type? Somehow I wanna know all about you. Deep connection lights a spark. Like you already know me when we dance in the dark. We're dreamers. We're living. We're dreamers. We're doing this in our way. We come alive.